right. So, fourth team on my list. Fourth team on the list. This is what? 11th pick? 11th pick of the first round. Charlie. All right, let's get into it. All right, so first round, you took Julio Jones. I don't like Julio Jones. As Andre would probably tell you, he had him on his team last year. Good player. Doesn't catch enough touchdowns. He was the fifth best receiver in our league last year. He got, I think, 1,200, 1,300 yards, something crazy high. But so he got about 1,400 yards. So he gets yards, which is good. But he only found the end zone 3 times. And now you might say, oh, but that's bound to regress back to the mean because he gets lots of red zone targets. And you would be right to a certain extent. Yeah, he does get red zone targets. He got 16 end zone targets last year, which was one of the higher ones in the NFL. But it's been the same thing for the past 5 years. So He doesn't score touchdowns. I really couldn't tell you why he doesn't score touchdowns, but he doesn't score touchdowns. I don't know. They target him. They don't throw him the ball enough. They give him targets, but most of the time they're offline. Or there's Devontae Freeman and there's Tevin Coleman, Mohamed Sanu. They got Calvin Ridley. I could not make heads or tails if you watch the tape why Julio Jones does not get more targets in the end zone. He got 16 last year, but he only scored 3 times. Half those were not on target. If Julio scored like 11 or 12 touchdowns, top 2-3 receiver. The fact that he only scores like 3 or 4, he's like 5th or 6th best receiver. So the fact that you took him as the 2nd best receiver on the board, it's not a good pick. It's not a good pick. I would have taken both of Ryan's receivers, which are Odell Beckham and DeAndre Hopkins, over Julio. I would have taken Brian's number 1 receiver, Michael Thomas, over Julio. It's a reach. It was a bad reach by a lot. I like your second round pick though. I like your second round pick quite a bit. You took Christian McCaffrey. Now, most of the time when you listen to a coach in the NFL, like say, I don't know, Bill Belichick, and they say something like, well, we're going to give him the ball a lot. We're going to give him like 20, 25 carries. They're lying. They're lying to you. Like, it just... Bill Belichick said he was going to make Sonny Michel the feature back this season. He was going to give Sonny Michel like 20 carries a game. He was lying. Okay, I can say that without a doubt in my mind. Because, like, they have the ball maybe 65 touches, 65 times a game Tom Brady touches the ball. You're going to tell me one of those times Sonny Michel's going to touch the ball too? No, I don't believe that. That's a lie. But Ron Rivera said, oh no, Christian McCaffrey's going to get like 20, 25, 30 touches a game. I'm like, I don't know if I believe that. But then the preseason, lo and behold, he's getting like 14, 15, 13 touches in the first half. Like, he's playing the whole first half, and he's getting lots of touches. He's catching the ball. He's getting touches out of the backfield. He's getting rush yards out of the backfield. Like, they used an 8th overall pick on him last year, and I thought it was a reach. And he only had 117 carries, so he didn't touch the ball a lot on carries, but man, he got 80 receptions. That's close to like 280, he's close to 200 touches last year, okay? So, really good running back. Say Zeke Elliott gets like 300. If you could tell me that Christian McCaffrey touched the ball 300 times this year, he'd be a top 5 running back. And the reason is because while I love Zeke Elliott and I love some of those other guys, like Zeke Elliott touched the ball a lot, but they're all rushes, okay? He's getting maybe like 10, 20 receptions. If McCaffrey gets like 100 catches, like, can you imagine? Like, average catch, at least 5 yards a catch. Okay, average rush gets like 4, maybe 3. Average catch for McCaffrey last year? Yeah, average catch for McCaffrey last year was 6.5, 7 yards. Okay, so if you touch the ball, say you catch the ball 100 times, and of those 100 times you get 700, 750 yards, guess what? You just found a guy who's got like close to 2,000 yards per year because he catches and receives the ball. That's crazy. So I really, really like McCaffrey's upside. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold up. I don't think they're going to be able to give him the ball 30 times a game because that's just an insane number. But he's super efficient when he catches the ball. He's a huge part of their offense. Like, it's Cam Newton, and like you could say, oh, they have Greg Olsen or Devin Fun. No, it's Cam Newton and it's Christian McCaffrey. All right, if Cam Newton is not running the ball and trying to get like a concussion, he's giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey. All right, like C.J. Anderson's not good. Okay, Devin Funchess isn't good. I like DJ Moore. He's super raw. Greg Olsen gets hurt. Like it's McCaffrey is the ride or die. All right, McCaffrey for me this year, I'm gonna call him my early round ride or die. Okay, I think McCaffrey is gonna be a top 5 like receiver in fantasy or top 5 running back in fantasy, and that's strictly because he's going to receive the ball so much. He's going to see so much volume that he's going to be a top 5 running back in fantasy football. If he had fallen to me in the first round or in the second round, I would have been ecstatic because it was him or McKinnon for me, and McKinnon pick obviously didn't work out. So you got McCaffrey. Credit to you. I think he's fantastic. He is my ride or die this year. I don't know if it really makes up for your Julio pick, but if you told me you got Christian McCaffrey and Julio Jones in like the first 2 rounds, I'd be pretty happy because I would assume, I have like the 13th pick and someone took Odell Beckham and Hopkins and Thomas and I wanted McCaffrey. Like Patrick took Devontae Freeman and who was the other? And Jordan Howard, and Brian took Dalvin Cook, and I like Dalvin Cook a lot. Dalvin Cook's got a lot of potential. All right, he's really good. But I think McCaffrey can be better than all of them. He's got higher potential, and while the floor is a little bit iffy, I really like the upside because he is, that whole offense is just perfect for him. So I really, really, really like the McCaffrey pick. And then we get to the next, man, it's going to be like, I don't know, it's a roller coaster with you, Charlie. I don't know what the heck you're doing. So we take Jeffrey because, we love, Charlie loves her some Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, thank God she didn't take an old running back this time. I'm so tired of that. Alshon's, he's hurt. He had shoulder surgery right after the Super Bowl. Still hasn't healed up. He's going to be gone at least 2 weeks. Like, he's not practicing. That's not a good sign. You don't take a guy who's literally injured and not going to play games in, like, the 3rd round. Like, that's not... Like, what are you doing? So... And even when he was playing, he's a good player, but, like, he doesn't... Carson Wentz, if you saw Carson Wentz last year, or even Nick Foles... There's a lot. They have a lot of weapons, all right? There's Zach Ertz. Like, let's just go off the top of my head. So, Zach Ertz, tight end. Really good tight end. Corey Clement, Jay Ajayi, got them in the backfield. They get Darren Sproles is back. It's a weird one. So, I mean, Darren Sproles is going to be there. He's got to get touches as well. I mean, they got rid of Torrey Smith, if I remember right. But you still got Nelson Aguilar in the slot for the Eagles, too. So there's quite a few guys. And then you're still getting with, who else? Do they have anyone else at receiver? I mean, oh, yeah, you got Mike Wallace. So, yeah, you got Mike Wallace replacing Torrey Smith now, and I think that's an upgrade. I think they still have Wendell Smallwood, too, who they use, and he gets touches. That's a lot of guys, all right? I just named off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. 6 guys. Alshon is really good near the goal line. That's what made him really good last year. He scored a lot of touchdowns because you just throw him the ball up and he gets it, and then boom, it's a touchdown. If Julio Jones could get touchdowns the way Alshon Jeffrey could, he'd be a number 1 receiver. I don't know what it is, but Alshon can just go up and get it. The problem is he doesn't get the yards that Julio does. So, like, it's kind of like you got 2 broken receivers. You got one guy who gets lots of yards and the other guy gets touchdowns, but neither of them do both. So, like, he's in a really good offense, but it's an offense that shares the ball. He's going to miss at least 2 games because of his off-season surgery, and he doesn't get a whole lot of yards after catch. He just kind of just goes up and gets it, and then it gets tackled. That's kind of what happens. That's fine in the end zone, but not anywhere else. I think, how many touchdowns did he score last year? Like, think about it. Like, what are we going? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He scored, really? He scored 10. Okay, Alshon Jeffrey scored 10 touchdowns last year, okay? Julio Jones scored 3. Alshon Jeffrey was only the 16th best wide receiver at his position. Julio was 5. And that's because Julio just beat him out. He almost doubled the amount of yards that he got over Alshon. Like, that is bad. That is not a good stat. So, like, I don't see how in the world Alshon Jeffrey gets that many touchdowns. Like, no. He doesn't see the target volume. He doesn't see the amount of receptions. He's not on the field enough. There's too many people to pass the ball to. There's too many problems. I don't like this pick. There's too much risk. He's not going to see the ball enough. He's just not. He's not going to get enough touchdowns to justify this pick. I don't know. I know you love Jeffrey, but this was a bad pick. You probably could have gotten him in like the 5th or 6th round because he's injured right now. Like, huge reach. Don't like it. You take Travis Kelce. Okay, we're going on tight end train because we don't want a second running back, I guess, or for some reason, I guess. I don't know. So Kelce's really good. He's been the top tight end the last couple seasons. He had the most receptions last year. I think it was 83 receptions for a tight end, so really good. He scores quite often. I think what he have seven touchdowns. I don't know if he's going to get that again, maybe, but I could see it. I mean, Alex Smith is gone, and Kelce was his security blanket, but Patrick Mahomes has got an arm. And I don't know if that Chief defense is really all that good. So I could see conceivably Kelce getting 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's a number that might be the number one tight end in fantasy. So 4th round pick's a little high. If he reaches that, it's worth it. I don't know if he does, but we're in a 14-team league. I like the pick. It's not bad. I'd rather have a second running back, but like for the value, for a guy who's pretty consistent, who's really, really good, I mean, in this same round, like Kerryon Johnson and Rex Burkhead got taken. I can't fault you for taking Travis Kelce. Like, he's better than those guys at his position. That's a good pick. Then we take Wentz. Man, you're taking another Eagles guy, and he's hurt too. He blew out his ACL. He's not even practicing yet. Like, I don't know why. Why are you even wasting this pick? This is a wasted pick. Like, Carson Wentz isn't going to play, like, the first week. He blew out his ACL in, like, week 13, I think it was. So, like, he's got to start. He needs at least a week of practice. Maybe he comes back like week 4 or 5, but like I can get Jared Goff on free agency for free. It's a waste. Why am I taking quarterback who's not going to start more than like 10 games for me? That's in the 5th round. Like, it's a reach. If he was healthy, it would be a reach. The fact that he's not makes it an insane waste of a pick. You could have taken him in like the 11th round. Like, I got Drew Brees in the 11th round. Like, it should have been like, do I want to take Carson Wentz or do I want to take Drew Brees? And then even then, I'd probably still take Drew Brees because he's actually going to be healthy. But you took Carson Wentz in the 5th round. Like, that's wild overpay. So another huge reach, just like Jeffrey. Maybe you just love Eagles players. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But it's just huge reach. Just did not need to do that. No reason for it. Just totally just threw the pick away. I don't know why. He just threw it in the dumpster. Threw it in the dumpster, poured some vodka on it, lit it on fire. It just totally wasted the pick. You need a running back now because you've wasted 2 of the last 3 picks. So at least you got Tevin Coleman. Do I like Tevin Coleman? I do. He gets receptions. The problem is he shares the backfield with Devontae Freeman. Freeman gets a lot of those goal line carries, man. So he gets a lot of touches. But Coleman's a good player. He catches the ball in the backfield. He doesn't fumble it a whole lot. He gets a decent amount of touchdowns himself. I mean, and he's a top 25 running back. So, do I love Tevin Coleman? No, he doesn't have a whole lot of upside. But I know what he is. And if I have him as my number 2 running back, that's pretty good. I mean, Ryan took Kerryon Johnson in the 4th round. I think Kevin Coleman, at the end of the day, is going to have more fantasy points and better production than Kerryon Johnson. And he got him 2 rounds later. It's pretty good. So, I like that pick. I mean, I still think the other picks are wasted picks, but, at least you got a decent second running back who's good. So, there's something, I guess. Your team's weird. Duke Johnson. Oh, good pick. Weird team. So, Duke Johnson signed a contract extension. By the way, he shouldn't have. He should have just held out for the money because he's worth the money. He's the best receiving back in football. He doesn't touch the ball a whole lot on rushes. Okay? So he's kind of like a poor man's Christian McCaffrey in a way. But he can really, really catch. Like, McCaffrey, I like a lot because he gets 80 receptions or so. And, he's very efficient. Duke is not as efficient, but Duke, he's got some speed, all right? He can play. I mean, if you watch some film on the guy, he's got wide receiver hands. He almost never drops a pass. He's really, really good at receiving the ball. I think last year he had close to 700 yards receiving. So, getting that 700 yards means you're probably about 50 yards. Maybe if you miss a couple games, 50 yards a game receiving. And then he'll probably run for another 25. So that's 7.5 yards. That's 75 yards a game. That's pretty 75 yards a game, 7.5 points. He scores a touchdown, boom, 13 points. That's exactly what you want from your flex. Okay. That's a good pick. All right. Last year, Duke Johnson averaged 9 points a game. Okay, he was sneaky good. All right, the Browns. People we make fun of the Browns, and I don't think the Browns are really, really that great. I think they'll win 5 games this year. But this is one of the few guys on the Browns last year who you watch the game just man, that guy's really good. And if they can figure out a way to get him the ball more, he's a top 20 running back in fantasy. That's not a joke. That's real. And if he's your flex, if he can just find the end zone, because he gets yards, if he can find the end zone, that's really good value. So the fact that you got Duke Johnson as your flex, I like a lot because he's a good player. He plays for the Browns, which is why he fell, but doesn't mean he can't play. He's one of the better players on that team. He's probably, they brought in Josh Gordon and Jarvis Landry, but he's still one of the better offensive players on that team. I like the pick. And we got Josh Doxson. Doxson's a weird case study in on the one hand, it didn't seem like he did a whole lot last year because he had an Achilles injury, and when he was on the field, he didn't catch the ball a whole lot. I think he only caught half the targets. But on the other hand, when he was in the red zone last year, he had one of the highest red zone rates in football. A red zone rate basically means when we're within the 20 yards from the end zone, you throw it to this guy a lot. Or you rush with a guy a lot. He was in the top 10 of any team. We're talking DeAndre Hopkins, Antonio Brown, Todd Gurley. He was in that neighborhood of players who would see the ball a lot around there. Was that a fluke? Is that real? I don't know. But with Alex Smith and Darius Guy's gone, and they have Adrian Peterson, but it's not like they can run the ball the entire time. Doxson's an interesting case in upside because if he catches touchdowns, it's a good pick. He can play. He could probably be your flex. You already have a flex technically, but he can help you out. In fact, I think for week 1 with Jeffrey Hurd. You're starting Alan Hearns. I'd start Doxson. I think Doxson's the better player. I think Doxson's got a better chance of scoring a touchdown. And I definitely think Doxson's got the better quarterback in Alex Smith because, man, oh, man. I do not like Dak Prescott all that much at all. They're not. He's not going to throw the ball all that much. I'd rather trust Doxson. So I like the pick. It's another good pick. It's weird. This team's weird. So then you're trying to get a little depth. Okay. You got James White. White is what he is, and he's never going to be more than that. He's one of the top receiving backs. That's weird. You took Christian McCaffrey and Duke Johnson and James White. All three of those guys, I'd say, are in the top 5 running backs as pass catchers. They're really good at receiving the ball out of the backfield. That's interesting. Just a weird pattern. He's gotten a lot of receptions over the last few years. I think, what is it? Like, last 3 years, he's gotten 150 or so receptions, so it's like 50 a year. He's gotten like 12 touchdowns, so that's like 4 touchdowns a year. So he'd be really good in PPR, but we don't play PPR. However, there are going to be games where White is going to catch the ball like, say, 10 times, 5 times, score a touchdown. So he's a low-end flex guy, but if, God forbid, that Patriots backfield somehow opens up and Sonny Michel is not all that good and like Rex Burkhead has fumbleitis again, I could see James White becoming something. So I don't hate the pick. You got depth at running back, and that's super important, and he can play. So I'll give you credit for that. What is it next? Oh, Allen Hurns. Okay, so Allen Hurns is the number 1 receiver on the Cowboys. He played for Jacksonville last year. I don't like the Cowboys' passing offense at all. On the one hand, a couple years ago with Blake Bortles, Allen Hurns had like a 1,700 yard, had like a huge monster year. He was like almost a Pro Bowl player. He had like what was it? Almost like 1,000. He had a little over 1,000 yards, like receiving. It was like 2015, so like 3 years ago. But since then, he's been like off and on, injured, and he's in a run-heavy offense, and even he's a number 1 receiver. So I mean, obviously, he's worth having on a team, but like that team's going to run the ball to Elliott so much. I don't think Hurns is going to get more than like 3 or 4 touchdowns all season. He's a bench guy. Bench depth, I don't love him, but I'd rather you take a shot on someone you think has upside like Doxson than take a guy like Hurns here who doesn't have a whole lot of upside and probably isn't all that good. So, You took Trey Flowers at a defensive line. He's a good player. Plays for New England. If he stays healthy, he should get you like 8 points a game. He's pretty good defensive player. Defensive lineman. Thought it was reach, should take linebacker, but, not bad. You took Michael Gallup, number 2 receiver on the Cowboys. I guess you're thinking maybe the Cowboys will discover a passing offense like they had with Dez Bryant, but Dak Prescott is not Tony Romo. He's not that efficient. He doesn't throw that ball that much. I like Gallup. He was really good last year at Colorado State. He can play. If they throw the ball downfield, he has the upside to do something with it. So I like the Gallup pick more than I like the Hurns pick because Gallup actually has the potential to be something more. Hurns is kind of just like, I'm going to catch the ball in the slot a few times and it'll be pretty good. Gallup's like, I'm going to blow the top off the defense and win a game. Like, that's good value for where it is. That's like what? It's 12th round? Good value. Guy can win you some games. It's kind of just like take a shot in the dark. You're in the double-digit rounds. Take upside. Go for upside. Like you took Danny Amendola in the next round. Don't like that pick at all. Why? Because Danny Amendola doesn't do anything. He's old. He plays in the slot. He's going to get you like a bunch of receptions, no touchdowns, and empty yards. if Danny Amendola is playing a game for you, starting like a literal game for you in fantasy, you're probably not winning that week, and that means like you probably should have started someone else because like he's going to give you like 5 points a week, and that sounds okay, but like you need upside. You need to like, if we're talking, the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs is pretty small. It's kind of just like the difference between like Danny Amendola and say Julian Edelman. Like, Amendola's just not going to see the ball enough, and he doesn't score. I don't want guys like that on my team because they have no upside. There's no chance of him being anything more than like a catch like 5 balls for 45 yards a game kind of guy. It's not good. Not a good player. Good player, but not a good pick. Denzel Perryman, I really like at linebacker for the LA Chargers. He can really play. He only played about half the games last year, but he was a double-digit player. If he's healthy, he's good. But linebacker's pretty easy to fill. Morgan Burnett, safety, Pittsburgh. I think he'll play a lot, especially with Ryan Shazier out for the year. He should get quite a few tackles, and he has pretty good hands, so he might get some interceptions, so that's a good pick. We got Alec Ogletree. He got traded away from the Rams. He got traded to the Giants because they needed help, so they're going to use him, so he's going to call out the defense. I like the pick. Good linebacker. Again, we're going defense. Just, take a guy. You probably didn't even know any of this stuff about the guys, but they're good. They can play. Adam Vinatieri, super consistent, old, but he'll make his field goals. Alex Smith, good backup. Alex Smith has a chance to be like a top 10 quarterback. But see, this kind of just illustrates why I hate the Carson Wentz pick. You got Alex Smith literally in round 18, and you got Carson Wentz in round 5. And I could be convinced that Alex Smith will finish higher on the season with more fantasy points than Carson Wentz. So, like, why take a quarterback high? I don't know. But I do like Alex Smith. I think he's very good on Washington. I think he's a starter in our fantasy league. I think he can play. I think he'll do some good things. I think Carson Wentz was a wasted pick, but I think Alex Smith was a good find. So, good for you. Let's see, I've been grading this. So, Patrick got a B. Ryan got a C minus. Brian got a C plus. What are we giving Charlie? It's so weird. Because, like, you don't have enough upside for me to really, really love the team. But you have enough consistency for me to think, if you take care of the team, you could possibly get to the playoffs. So, like, Ryan was super boom or bust. You're kind of just like, you're kind of in the middle. So I'm actually probably going to put you right where he is because it's about the same. I don't love the team, but you have some good things going on. And you have more consistency than he does. So it's a C minus. This is a C minus team. I don't love it. I hate some of these early picks. I have no idea what you were doing. Like, you just sleepwalk through something. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. Do better. But you have good consistency. Like, McCaffrey, Coleman, White, Johnson. Those are four pretty good running backs. That's a good core. Julio and Jeffrey, not bad. 2 receivers. Alex Smith at quarterback. Travis Kelce at tight end. If you could tell me all those guys are healthy the whole year, that's a playoff team. So I don't know about the depth. I think that's the real issue I have with this team. But there's a core here. There's a foundation, and I don't think you did a great job by any means. But I think you're okay, Charlie. I think this is an okay draft. I think the team is good. I think you could win some games with this team. I think you'll upset some people with this team, and I think if you really wanted to and really tried, you could like trade and get into the playoffs and possibly, I don't know if you'll win a championship, but you could be a contender. You're not far off. So. Not a bad draft. C minus. Good for you.